and Brian Dawkins at safety. 2nd and 10, Booker in motion, and the pitch to Anthony Thomas. Turning the corner, he breaks a tackle and picks up 5 yards. All is said and done. Ike Reese in there to make a stop. So already the Eagles missing a tackle. And 3rd and 5 coming up.
The guy who missed that tackle, Brian Dawkins, you don't expect to see that, but here's a stat that you don't want to see if you're the Chicago Bears offense. You like to get off to good starts. They have punted on every opening series this year. It's so important for a team, especially when they're struggling like the Bears are, to have something positive early in the football game.
3rd down and 5, 3 wide receivers, and the Eagles 2nd in the league on 3rd down defense. Booker came in motion toward the line, and the pass not even close, and covering was Bobby Taylor on Marty Booker. So once again the Chicago Bears will kick as Hugh Douglas comes limping off. Coming back to the Midwest, Brian Westbrook with 3 receivers is the back, and the quick out to Deuce Staley, who lines up as a receiver, and Staley picks up 4 yards. Bears defensively, and they have not been staunch against the run for good reason. Christian Peter is starting at tackle. The rookie Alex Brown at end. They missed Ted Washington more than anyone will admit. Bobby Howard again at outside linebacker. Urlacher is the star of this team. Colvin is the pass rusher. R.W. McQuarters returns to the starting lineup. Bears have not had an interception since week 2. On 2nd and 6, Deuce Staley gets stuffed, and he'll lose 2 yards.
You mentioned the fact that Ted Washington is not in the lineup. What that has done for offenses is they like to attack between the tackles now. They want to get downhill, get right at Brian Urlacher, negate his speed from sideline to sideline. But the thing that stops that is penetration. You see all the Chicago Bear defenders getting their gaps filled, and here comes Brian Urlacher to make the tackle.
Brian Urlacher, and he's had a tougher time this year without the imposing Ted Washington up front. Meanwhile, it'll be 3rd down and 7 for the Eagles. And McNabb getting to throw and hits up the middle to Antonio Freeman. And getting knocked down was McNabb by Roosevelt Colvin, but he completes the pass for the 1st down to Freeman, who has been a quiet receiver the last couple of weeks.
Roosevelt Colvin, he is the pass rush specialist, this time coming to the inside on a blitz, getting to Donovan McNabb, but the ability to get that ball out quickly to Antonio Freeman.
And a good inside receiver that has helped the Eagles tremendously. They are in Bear territory at the 49, and Dorsey Levens picking up 2 yards on 1st downs. So following the penalty, 2nd and 13, and the Eagles back on their own 49, and the handoff is to Westbrook, who gives the Eagles a great change of pace with his speed. The rookie from Villanova, tackled by Brian Urlacher, and that will bring up 3rd down and short for the Eagles, who are in Chicago territory. 1st quarter, no score.
What Brian Westbrook allows you to do is he is a pass receiving threat as well as a running threat. He comes in, they get into those wide open sets. You come in and match personnel. All of a sudden, you've got big running lanes in the interior of that defensive line.
3rd down and 3 for the Eagles, who come into the game leading the NFL in rushing. R.W. McQuarters pointing his way, and here is the pitch to James Thrash, and the end around inside the 35 for a 1st down. And Donovan McNabb, in essence, was a blocker on that play as the Eagles pick up 7.
And this is why this football team loves to play with Donovan McNabb. Watch him right here with the block on Reggie Austin. That's your quarterback. He's not going down and cutting anybody out. He's staying up, taking his best shot. I tell you what, you can't inspire a team more than to go out and play with the kind of style he plays. He's a carefree guy, but when push comes to shove, he likes to get in there and mix it up with the best of them.
And he's 6'3", 240 pounds, and he can do almost everything. Deuce Staley is knocked down at the line of scrimmage by the center of the Bears defense, bringing up 2nd down and long. 5 minutes have elapsed here in the 1st quarter. No score. Dick Stockton along with Darryl Johnston and Ron Pitts, and over on the sideline working on Jerry Azuma, the cornerback. So one of the starters out now, and he is replaced by Todd McMillan, number 26. Staley again split out wide to the left. On 2nd down and 10, McNabb being flushed from the pocket, and down he goes back at the 40-yard line by Philip Daniels. And right now for a game break, let's go back to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Dick Stockton, a fumble by Minnesota put Tampa in good position to capitalize on it. Brad Johnson hooking up with Carl Williams, a 15-yard strike. That was Tampa's first score of the game on their first possession, 7-0 over the Vikings. Back to Dick and Darryl.
All right, thank you very much, JB. And Tampa Bay trying to unleash an offense which has been quiet this season. But following the sack and the loss of 7 yards, it'll be 3rd down and 16 for the Eagles, who are out of field goal range right at this moment. And McNabb on the fake handoff and decides to run and gets by one defender and throws it away. And that was Mike Green who put the pressure on, and later on Alex Brown, the rookie, and a flag has been thrown. The Bears all started right here. Hugh Douglas, all right, he is back at his defensive end position. 1st down at the 20-yard line for the Bears. Leon Johnson is in and running back. Johnson finds a small opening and makes the most of it, picking up 7 yards before N.D. Kalu makes the stop.
John Shute, offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears. There, look at
well, are these Rams or what? Did they get their horns locked?
That's a classic right there.
That's Mike Gandy and Darwin Walker, and truly getting to know each other, you might say.
Well, that shows you that is a classic sign of guys playing, you know, the headbutt technique inside. And at least Darwin was nice and didn't, you know, like try to rip the helmet off of Mike Gandy and wrench his neck.
Oh,
that was
never seen that before. Never happened to see that one. 2nd down and 4 for the Bears. Tight formation, a bunch group on the right as they hand off again to Leon Johnson, who dives for the 1st down, close to the 35. Kalu again on the tackle. So a different twist going with Leon Johnson so far.
Getting back, the offensive coordinator John Shute talked to it. He wanted to get Leon Johnson more involved in the offense, not only a changeup. And here's one of the other things he talked about: getting into a no huddle early in the game so the Eagles could not dictate the tempo to his offense. 1st
down, Miller throws underneath and picks up about 5. Marty Booker, the intended receiver. Why the no huddle?
Well, he's not trying to create a mismatch. He's got a personnel out there that he knows the Eagles are going to match. He just wants to try and slow down Jim Johnson's approach. He does not want the tempo of this game dictated to him.
2nd and 4, and Miller again going underneath. No 1st down, but it's Marty Booker again, about a yard shy. And the tackle by the linebacker Sean Barber. You saw Jerry Azuma on his way into the locker room as Jim Johnson trying to dial up the defenses and react to the no huddle right here.
A little bit of a chess game going on right now. You see the personnel coming on and off the field. Jim Johnson wanted to pressure as much as he possibly could in the beginning of this football game. We'll see if that changes with the no huddle approach of the Bears.
3rd down and 1 for the Bears. And they go to Leon Johnson, who is stopped and does not get the 1st down. And that was Sean Barber, who very quietly has had an outstanding, although they could have expanded it, obviously, as they once did. McNabb getting a pass rush, and his pass is going to be caught by Todd Pinkston. So McNabb with a very difficult throw, and Pinkston manages to keep both feet in bounds for a 24-yard pickup.
I think that Donovan McNabb throws this route as well as any quarterback in the NFL right now. This is with Keith Traylor in his face, and look at Todd Pinkston going up and making the play in front of Todd McMillan. You give your wide receiver a chance on the outside to use his ability to make a play.
And of course McMillan is in there because Jerry Azuma has been taken out. So a 1st down for the Eagles on the slant. Pinkston drops this one. And right now let's send it down to Ron Pitts.
Well, Dick, the Bears more injuries in the secondary. You just mentioned Jerry Azuma, bruised left leg. They took him inside for observation. His return right now is questionable. All that, and they just got back R.W. McQuarters. Dick?
Well, they've been snake bit, Ron. There's no question about it, this Chicago Bear team. And we talked about problems with injuries on the offensive line and Ted Washington. But you got to play through them, and they're not using them as excuses. 2nd down and 10 from the 40-yard line, and here is the rookie Brian Westbrook, and Westbrook picks up some good yardage, getting 4.
They just get R.W. McQuarters back. Now Jerry Azuma going out, and that has been one of the big problems. And, you know, they will downplay the injury situation, but look at right there. One defensive starter missed a game last year. They're only halfway through the season. They've had 18 games missed by defensive starters. That's 2 starters per game that are out of your lineup. And when you're a team fighting to be a competitive football team, it's going to affect you.
It's affecting Greg Blosh and his defense. Don't forget Warwick Holdman, a linebacker, an outstanding one, out for the season with a knee injury. So on 3rd down, Donovan McNabb is sacked as flags fly back on the 40-yard line. Philip Daniels and company, and the 2nd sack of this first quarter by the Chicago Bears defense.
Part of playing the game of football.
I know that sticks in your craw if you like the contact of football. 1st down after the penalty, and here is McNabb ad-libbing, and his pass thrown away from Deuce Staley. So the Eagles getting a chance, but Moose, I have to tell you, the Bears defense has been very aggressive in this first quarter.
They really have. And defensive coordinator Greg Blosh learning a lesson in that playoff game last year where he sat back in some zones. When the plays broke down, Donovan McNabb extends the time. He was able to find wide receivers open in the zones. Today, with R.W. McQuarters coming back, he was going to match up man-to-man, our best against your best, and I'm going to pressure you and see if you can beat us that way.
2nd down and 10 on the 46 of the Bears. Short drop, and the ball is tipped that time by Alex Brown, the rookie from the University of Florida, and starting last week's game against the Vikings and giving a fine account of himself.
Well, he had a really nice day last week against the Vikings, and actually the whole defensive unit did. They kept the Bears in that football game. It was a 13-0 game at half, but could have been a much larger margin at that time had the defense not played well. And right now they've gotten off to a nice start again this afternoon. Now they're trying to get the crowd involved here at Memorial Stadium.
And the maestro is R.W. McQuarters. So here it is, 3rd down and 10 for the Eagles. Getting a chance because of the penalty. And there is McNabb, and his pass is incomplete and intended for Antonio Freeman, bringing up 4th. There's the bunch offense, including Stanley Pritchett, who is lined up as a receiver. 1st down, and the pass out of the backfield to Stanley Pritchett, and Pritchett gains about 5 yards on the 1st down. Ike Reese starting today, making the tackle.
Jim Johnson finally going to a little bit of pressure, bringing it from the right side. A good play call by offensive coordinator John Shoup. Quick pass out to the right, but that was really the first time that he brought some pressure in this football game. He wanted to come out and be aggressive on the road. That was our first chance to see Jim Johnson's blitz package.
2nd and 5 on the Eagle 46. The pitch to Leon Johnson. Johnson with a head of steam gets to within a couple of yards of 1st down, and Ike Reese making the tackle.
The Bears need to open up their game plan and throw everything they can at the Philadelphia Eagles to be successful today.
From the 39, and this pass thrown behind Fred Baxter, and another flag comes in from the referee this time, and it's going to be personal foul called against the Bears. So that's the 2nd personal foul infraction against the Chicago Bears.
We talked about the margin of error for this Chicago Bears team. They cannot afford to have penalties. They've got to play virtually an error-free game to stay in this football game this afternoon.
Unnecessary roughness. Offense, number 75, after the play. 15-yard penalty. The down counts. 2nd down.
It's going to be on Mark Colombo right there, going on Hugh Douglas. You see right there, if that's what he called, I think there it is. There's the finish. All right, I was going to say, if that's all he's calling, I don't agree with that. But when the guy's down, you don't want to come jump on top.
Hey, look, Mark Colombo is on 7th heaven because Boston College defeated Notre Dame yesterday. So we're going to allow him that. There's fewest penalties in the National Football League. 2nd down and 25 after that one. Long way to go, and the pass is knocked away, bringing up 3rd and forever for Chicago. Jim Miller. See Jim Miller on the sideline last week against the Minnesota Vikings. He was chomping at the bit to come into this game, did not like what he was seeing, and he admitted that his elbow was hurting him. It's not going to re-injure it. He can't get hurt anymore, but he has to be in there in his view.
And I think he did the right thing. He went to get an opinion to find out if there was going to be any further injuries. We see Jim Miller on the sideline with the Bears breaking the huddle.
So now we have Marty Booker who is the quarterback here. The Eagles scrambling. Marty Booker, the wide receiver, going back to throw, and he's going to air it out to Marcus Robinson in double coverage, and the ball is knocked away. The Eagles had Marcus Robinson covered all the way. 8-yard line. You could see the rain falling lightly. Handoff to Staley. And Deuce Staley with 152 yards 2 weeks ago against the Buccaneers. 126, pretty impressive against the Giants. Otherwise, they're playing this team on even terms. First down, and the end around to James Thrash. And Thrash is knocked out of bounds, and
downs. His defense is allowing him to stay on the field.
But 4 penalties, mostly on defense, to the tune of 40 yards, is negating that strategy. So a first down, and the flip to Brian Westbrook, and a loss on the play as another flag goes down. Brian Urlacher, and I have to tell you right now, nothing kills the tempo of a game more than a penalty on every play. And this crew is doing it, and they've got to call it, I guess, the way they see it.
Illegal shift, offense, 2 men moving prior to the snap, did not reset. Penalties decline,
and
second down.
And if they did, Moose, they did.
Yeah, you got to call it when you got to call it. But I tell you what, you do not want to run on the perimeter with Brian Urlacher. We have talked about Ted Washington not being there, but look at his vision. He saw where Brian Westbrook was the whole time. Run at Brian Urlacher in these situations. Do not try and run laterally.
2nd and 14, and the Eagles on their 43. Final seconds of this first quarter. They hand off to Westbrook, and he gets a couple of yards, and that should be the last play of the first quarter. Dedicated the same day, by the way, that the 4 Horsemen performed back in the Polo Grounds. First down for the Bears, and Anthony Thomas, who took a backseat to Leon Johnson the last 2 series, gets close to the first down.
Well, John Shoup has been trying to find out what type of approach to use against this Eagles defense. He has had no success on the first 3 series. Gets off to a nice start with this drive.
First down for the Chicago Bears, and a good hold for Johnson.
And you know what? They have looked good running the football. They have struggled at times, but this is something that they have to stick with. We saw Leon Johnson earlier. Now it's Anthony Thomas's turn.
And that was Thomas, not Johnson. And Thomas getting the handoff again and picking up 2 yards on the play. Philadelphia Eagles, the linebacker, Barry Gardner, who now is the backup to Levon Kirkland, getting a little tape job on the sideline. Bears have lost 5 in a row. And to a man, they'll tell you that it has been a struggle. Their confidence is low, but if they ever could pull out of it with an upset win against the team that knocked their season out last year, this could set them on their way. 2nd down and 8. Play action, and open downfield is Stanley Pritchett. And Pritchett with the first down close to midfield, and a 15-yard gain for the Bears.
Stanley Pritchett playing the fullback position gives them more opportunities in the passing game. A nice job of eluding Sean Barber on his release, and then a good job of hanging onto the football with a big hit by Blaine Bishop. You see Sean Barber bite on that play fake. That allows Stanley Pritchett the time to get by. Jim Miller does a nice job of getting the ball around him. A nice hit by Blaine Bishop at the end of that play.
And Levon Kirkland with the big weight, sending him down. First down for the Bears on their 49-yard line. Booker went in motion, and the pitch to Anthony Thomas. And Anthony Thomas bowling his way. He looks like a far different runner than he has in recent time. 5-yard gain with Brian Dawkins on the tackle. And the penalty flag is down. Yard line, scoreless early here in the second. Jim Miller pitching to Anthony Thomas, trying to turn the corner, and no gain on the play. Good pursuit by the Eagle defense, led by the veteran Blaine Bishop, their strong safety. Thomas, who gained over 1,000 yards last year. When you talked about the Bears able to run the ball, he was the reason why.
Oh, he had a tremendous season last year, and that's where all the offensive success came from, was the great job by Anthony Thomas and the guys up front controlling the tempo in the running game. Time of possession was big. Their defense fed off that. This is a different team when they're running the football well.
None of that has happened so far this year. Second down and 11, and there is Thomas out of the backfield. Anthony Thomas inside the 15, still going, and a flag is thrown as Thomas is finally tackled at about the 9-yard line.
Spot of the foul. But this is just a little dump off, and what Jim Miller was able to do, you can see him yell there to get Anthony Thomas's attention. There was nobody in the middle of the field except Levon Kirkland. Anthony Thomas, one-on-one with Levon Kirkland in the middle of the field, is the type of matchups that the Bears have to find.
And Booker definitely did hold on to Taylor. Here is Anthony Thomas on 2nd and 1. And trying to drive for the first down. Paul Grassmanis in on the tackle, a former Chicago Bear. And it is a first down. Jim Johnson, whose Eagle defense has not allowed an offensive touchdown in their 4 games against NFC opponents. And right now that's in jeopardy.
They are not playing up to the level that we have seen them play the last few weeks. The Chicago Bears, a struggling offense, actually doing a nice job on this drive right here.
Jim Miller back in action, trying to get the Bears into the end zone. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line, and they are in the red zone right now. And the pass caught out of the backfield by Stanley Pritchett. And Pritchett gets to the 16-yard line. Actually, they'll mark it at the 14. So it'll be a pickup of 4 yards.
And now we're into an area that actually gave Jim Johnson some concern. He really felt the Bears were a good red zone team. They had not had a lot of opportunities in the red zone, but when they get there, they are good. They have a lot of weapons. It will change his thinking. He has got to stay balanced, using his pressure and some zone schemes to try and confuse Jim Miller.
Pritchett getting a lot of work here as the Bears bring in the 2 tight ends, Baxter and Davis. 2nd down and 6. The pitch to Anthony Thomas off the left side. That has worked for the Bears. Thomas will wind up about 1.5 yards shy, thanks to Hugh Douglas, as Chicago mounting the best scoring threat we've had in this half.
They're doing it with a nice controlled approach right here. You see right there the red zone offense, 11 TDs in their 20 possessions. The one thing that has stopped them are their turnovers. They have had the most turnovers in the red zone of any team in the NFL. But when they're able to hold on to the ball, have been very effective with their chances.
3rd down and 2. And the 10th play of the drive, Ahmad Merritt is in the backfield right now, number 81, a wide receiver in the backfield, and here is Miller swinging it out, and Merritt can't hold on. So Merritt, who should be sure-handed as a receiver.
Well, this is the quarter that the Eagles have performed very well in up until this point this year. We'll see if that holds true this afternoon. They need something right now because they are just not playing with any type of emotion. A much different team that has played the last 2 weeks in their 2 big victories over the Buccaneers and the Giants.
Staley has 8 yards rushing in 5 attempts. So 2nd down and 7, and a big opening for Donovan McNabb, and he takes advantage of it and gets the first down into Bear territory to the 45. Mike Green prevents more than a 9-yard pickup.
And when defensive coordinator Greg Blasch talked about his approach for this football game, this is what would worry me. This is a heck of a job by Mike Green getting back to tackle Donovan McNabb. We have seen him time and time again be able to pull away from defenders in the open field. When you play man-to-man coverage and he sees that gaping hole, he is going to be gone.
2 carries for 10 yards for McNabb, and the handoff to Deuce Staley, and he gets a pretty good opening off the right side and gets 9 yards in the process. Brian Urlacher making the tackle, and that may be the kind of play that you didn't get against the Bears last year with a healthy Ted Washington.
No, you didn't. You were forced to run on the perimeter, and not because of Ted Washington keeping guys off of Brian Urlacher, but just the fact that he is such a big man. He just clogged up that entire middle of the defensive line along with Keith Traylor. It was virtually impossible to run between the tackles.
This season, it's been a different story as teams are running to success against the Bears, and here is Staley running for another first down. So Deuce Staley trying to get on track, coming off 2 brilliant games. Longest play from scrimmage, by the way, was the pass from McNabb to Pinkston, good for 24 yards in the first quarter. So there is Staley, and has he come on?
And he's the type of back that does need more carries. You see the first 5 games, only 58 carries, less than 12 per game. The last 2 games, almost 25 per carry. He's one of those running backs that just feeds off the emotion the more you hand him the ball.
First down on the 32 of the Bears. They go to Deuce again. Turning the corner, and Urlacher with an open field tackle prevents what I think would have been an unquestionable first down. A 5-yard pickup for Deuce Staley.
I tell you, you just do not realize how fast Brian Urlacher is. He's shuffling side to side right there. When he turns to run, you better have about a 3-yard head start, or you're not going to beat him to the corner. You talk about running backs that have that deceptive speed, that turn the corner and everybody takes wrong angles. Brian Urlacher is the opposite on the defense. You think you've got the corner, and then all of a sudden it's a wide open receiver.
I don't think you want to leave your feet either. And there is the handoff to Staley, who is knocked back to the 16-yard line. There'll be a loss of a couple on that play as the Eagles in field goal position, looking to do even better here. Andy Reid, who has talked constantly, as Darryl has mentioned, about the goal. Yeah, you want to win the division, but you're looking for home field, and they've talked about it from the beginning. That'd be a big advantage for the Eagles, but that's way down the line. Second down and 11 with 5 minutes to go in the first half. Here's McNabb looking to throw, has time, and it's knocked down, incomplete. Good play by R.W. McQuarters, and a late flag comes down. James Thrash was the intended receiver, and a very late interference
play. You just don't have to throw the flag every time you see something.
Bears defense called for 6 penalties already. And here is McNabb with the quarterback draw, gets in for the touchdown. Donovan McNabb, and always a major threat for the Eagles now. So Jim Miller, his last 4 completions have been to running back, starting on his own 31. Handing off to Anthony Thomas, and Thomas with a good chunk of yardage on first down, picking up 6 yards. Well, the Bears have actually gained more through the air than the Eagles, and the Eagles have outrushed the Bears. That's a bit of a switch.
Yeah, some reversal of what we thought would happen today. The Philadelphia Eagles leading the league in rushing. The Bears really struggling, but have done a much better job consistently running the football. And if they could just get their defense to stop committing penalties, they'd be in this football game probably ahead right now.
They keep the formation tight as they go back to Thomas, and Thomas trying to get close to the first down yardage, may be shy by just a small margin. Eagles at 5-2 on the year. They are leading the division by 2 games after their victory over the Giants, and right now Hugh Douglas is on the sideline with his helmet off. It'll be 3rd down and 1. Of course, the pass rusher can go to the sideline when it's a run defense. So it's 3rd and 1 at the 40 of Chicago. Thomas, and the Bears convert their first 3rd down conversion of the day. Pick up a 4 for Anthony Thomas. On the Bears 44. On the pass, completion to Booker. Marty Booker with speed after the catch. First down to the Eagle 37, and a gain of 19 yards. Thomas with 38 yards and 9 carries, averaging over 4 yards a carry. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Bears on the 37-yard line. Play action. Miller getting rid of it and completes it to the 20 to Des White. His first completion is a big one, and a first down inside the 15 of Philadelphia. Has to score a touchdown. A field goal may not get it done. You're wondering about the Bears not going deep. How about those 20-yard passes leading the league? So it's a first down on the 13. Thomas bursting inside the 10 and close to the 5-yard line. A 7-yard pickup with Barry Gardner, Levon Kirkland's replacement, making the tackle.
And that's exactly right. Levon Kirkland's not in the lineup. The first place I'm going running the football is between the tackles. Levon Kirkland is a big man. He will fill both of those inside gaps. I'm going to challenge that defense while he's out of the lineup, and you've got to be able to run the football in the red zone to be successful.
Well, he's back in now. Levon Kirkland has checked back in. It'll be 2nd and 3 for the Bears, who are trailing by 4 points. And here is Thomas going into the end zone. Touchdown for Anthony Thomas. So the Bears reviving their running game and regain the lead as Anthony Thomas going 6 yards for the touchdown and a 9-7 Chicago advantage.
I tell you what, you look at teams that are successful in the red zone, the one thing they all have is a good running game. Stanley Pritchett on the lead block on Brian Dawkins. Everything else, just a little bit of a walk in there for Anthony Thomas.
Eagles have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. They'll start from their 18. McNabb to throw on first down, and it's Deuce Staley out of the backfield. First down for the Eagles up to the 33, and McQuarters with the stop. And Roosevelt Colvin with that 3-man front being used as a pass rusher. Now they fill the gap with 2 more. One drops back on 2nd and 10, and the pass up the middle caught by Antonio Freeman, who finds his way into Chicago territory. A gain of 23 yards to the 44-yard line, and the Eagles will use their second timeout. That's the aggressive nature of Andy Reid, even though he was back. Timeout left for the Eagles on the 44 of the Bears, trailing 10-7 to Chicago. Chad Lewis went in motion, now blocking, and McNabb sandwich throws the ball up for grabs, and the Bears pick it off. And unable to hold on to it as a flag flies is Mike Brown, of all people. They finally came in with the call. It looked as if Mike Brown had picked it off. Brilliant receiver. Byron Boston, I should say. Here's Miller. Caught by Merritt. Ahmad Merritt into Philadelphia territory. They got to watch the clock. And we'll still 1 timeout left for the Bears.
In there, Darryl, about taking this game lightly. I talked to some of the Philadelphia Eagle coaches before the game, and they were concerned that the team wasn't quite focused enough on this game. Dick?
All right, Ron, very nice. Deuce Staley for a couple of yards. Let's take a look at the first half statistics.
There's your big tell-all right there. The yards per play, 6.1. You know, everything else, you know, kind of feeds off of that. The Philadelphia Eagles have been an explosive offense as of late, with tremendous success running the football and throwing the football. Today, the Bears making them go the long way to get their yards.
2nd down and 8. And the handoff to Staley off the left side, and it's Brian Urlacher who's coming out to make the big play for the Bears, bringing up 3rd down and long.
Well, you know, I feel that Brian Urlacher has a lot to prove this afternoon, because a lot of people are questioning him and his ability to play the linebacker position without Ted Washington there. You see the way the Eagles have decided to run the football. Teams have been attacking the inside. I think Brian Urlacher does a nice job of getting off blocks and making plays. He's not one-dimensional. He's not just a sideline-to-sideline linebacker.
He's showing it today, Moose. 3rd down and 6. And here is McNabb looking to throw and lost this pass and into traffic, and a terrific catch by Antonio Freeman. That was a touch pass by McNabb, and Freeman, amongst 2 blue shirts, grabs it for a 29-yard gain.
And I think Andy Reid did a great job of getting guys like Antonio Freeman on this football team just for a game like this. You're waiting for somebody to step up and make a play to get this offense back on track. He's got Dorsey Levens, he's got Antonio Freeman, who have been with football teams that have been through struggles on a Super Bowl run. That's the dividend you see right there.
On the 27, Staley gets by a couple of defenders and finds his way to the 26. Urlacher making the tackle. So Antonio Freeman, who made that last catch, 3 catches for 61 yards.
Brian Urlacher again showing his pursuit of the ball, getting to the point of attack. And you see right there, there's not many people getting on to Brian Urlacher, and that was something that Andy Reid was very happy with his offensive line. They were getting from level 1 up to level 2 onto the linebacker level. Brian Urlacher has been running free all afternoon.
He has led the team in tackles every game. Here is 2nd down, and the quick pass to James Thrash. Thrash will be short of the first down by 3 yards.
What the Philadelphia Eagles have done a nice job is getting two guys onto this and either getting pushed back into the linebacker, or as he scrapes to come into the hole, coming off and getting a block on that player. They're not allowing the down guys to make tackles. I think it's very important. Sometimes you see offensive line groups that don't get that down guy secured before they move to the next level. Their success the last 2 weeks has been the ability to drive those guys back into the linebacker area.
3rd down and 3, and now Staley is uncovered as he lines up to the right. McQuarters catches up to him, and here is McNabb trying to get away, and he does. Donovan McNabb will run for the first down, and tightropes down the sideline, knocked out of bounds at the 7. Brian Robinson very nearly nabbed McNabb back of the line of scrimmage, and he got away for a 13-yard gain.
And you can do all you want to try and contain Donovan McNabb. We all know he likes to scramble to his right, but you can't stop him. And watch Mike Brown at the end of the run. Donovan McNabb is beyond the line of scrimmage. He gives him a pump fake. He gets him off his feet, and that allows him to turn the corner. We talked with Brian Urlacher about it. He says if he gets outside, I am running through him. I am not leaving my feet. There goes Mike Brown up in the air.
1st and goal for the Eagles on the Bears 6. Coming out in ferocious fashion here in the second half. And the pass to Thrash is incomplete. Well, I don't know what Andy Reid told his team during intermission, but they have come out in a house of fire here in the 3rd.
Well, it's just what we talked about. This team goes as Donovan McNabb goes. He had some runs in the first half, but this opening drive has shown you all his abilities. He's throwing the ball well, allowing his receivers to make plays, and when they break down, he can continue to move the chains.
And McNabb so far as a rusher, 5 carries, 37 yards, a touchdown, averaging nearly 7.5. 2nd and goal on the 6th. The flip to Dorsey Levens, and right there was Roosevelt Colvin. And that will bring up 3rd down from the 5-yard line.
And that has been one of the things that this team has done offensively. They have a lot of different plays. They will force you to be able to defend a lot of different things. But I'm not a big fan of the shovel pass inside. I know you've seen it work for touchdowns, but this is a team that has so many other weapons. I think there were better choices.
3rd down and goal. McNabb getting rushed, fires, and the ball is dropped, incomplete. And it was Antonio Freeman who had a hand on it, and Mike Green in the offensive play calling of the team. Bears weren't very happy with that. And he returning to action as Urlacher always in action, getting the sack for the Bears, and a loss of 6 for Donovan McNabb.
Well, the running backs are responsible for the 2 outside linebackers. I want you to see what happens. Cecil Martin and Deuce Staley both get locked on to Roosevelt Colvin. Look at both of them right there on Roosevelt Colvin. Brian Urlacher comes around the backside with nobody to block. There's no one there to block him. How do you lose number 54 in protection?
Playing a great game defensively for the Bears. 2nd sack for Chicago. 9 tackles to go with it. Dorsey Levens the back, and he goes out as a receiver. Donovan McNabb will find him at the 40-yard line and dives forward to the 33-yard line. Brian Urlacher showing why he may be the best middle linebacker in all of football.
Well, there's a lot of talk about a guy in Baltimore named Ray Lewis, but this guy, I think, is right there with all of them. He goes sideline to sideline. He can chase down quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs. He has an uncanny ability of always being around where the ball is, and he finds his way on blitzes through the open lanes to disrupt the passing game.
Okay, he may be the best 3. Quick toss, and if it's caught, it is a 1st down, and apparently it is. Antonio Freeman just gets enough for the 1st down for the Eagles. So they called the timeout, set up the play, and the drive continues.
And it was a nice play, too. They had Mike Green coming on a blitz. He vacates the area. Donovan McNabb finds James Thrash in that area that the blitz just came out of. Mike Brown unable to get there in time to break up that play.
Freeman leading the Eagles with 4 catches for 66 yards. And a 1st down on the 26. Here's Staley. Deuce has not broken one today after a couple of 100-yard games. He does get inside the 25 for a couple.
those are the types of runs that were a big part of those 2 big days that Deuce Staley had. There was nothing real pretty about the majority of those runs, and then all of a sudden he's able to break the one big one that puts him over the top. And it's just nice to see him back at 100%. That bad foot injury he had 2 years ago, he struggled through some nagging injuries last year. Good to see Deuce Staley back at 100%.
Darcy Levens replaces him, and McNabb looking one way, getting chased, and Urlacher putting the rush on, and McNabb smartly getting rid of the ball before taking the sack.
I tell you what, this guy has tremendous closing speed. This is real speed. Take a look at Brian Urlacher. When Donovan McNabb moves, here he comes. He does not have a whole lot of time to make that decision. I like the poise of Donovan McNabb in the pocket, but when you see 54 coming after you, all of a sudden that mind better start working a little bit faster.
3rd down and 8 at the 24. McNabb been hit 12 times, and here he comes back looking for a running room, and McNabb, look at the moves by McNabb. He's not going to get the first down, however. Will be stopped a couple of yards shy, and it was Mike Caldwell fully ensconced again in that position. 2nd down and 13. Thomas, the running back, out to the right, and the pass to Booker in close. Booker changing direction and slipping on the wet grass, or the wet turf we should say, and it ends up a small gain to the 35.
Well, the speed that this Philadelphia Eagles defense has, that's a very tough play to execute. They are going to be able to chase things down. And one of their guys right there, Corey Simon, reaching back, grabbing the hamstring. Hope that that's nothing serious. Defensive coordinator Jim Johnson said he feels that he is on the verge of having one of those breakout games. He's really started to understand the subtleties of this defensive system. And he says watching him on film, you can see that he's reacting and not thinking anymore as a football player.
Paul Grassmanis has replaced him. 3-man defensive line for the Eagles. And here is Miller. Trap gets rid of it, up in the air, and dropping in front, incomplete. So that one was thrown up for grabs after Sean Barber again put the pressure on Jim.
He's gained back to the Bears.
1st down at the 49 of Chicago. Deuce Staley cuts back inside, and a good gain of about 5. Right now for a game break, here's James Brown out on the West Coast.
Dick and Darrell, finally Tampa Bay breaking out of the offensive doldrum. Take a look at Brad Johnson, pump fake, post pattern by Keyshawn. 2nd touchdown reception of the day for Keyshawn. 3rd of the season. Keyshawn's first 2-touchdown day since December of 2031-10. Back to Dick and Darrell.
Bucks trying to go to 7-2, and with the Saints on a bye week would take over the lead in the NFC South. And here is Deuce Staley, and Staley running right into the rookie Alex Brown for a 2-yard gain. Under a minute remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Alex Brown continuing to play well after that great start last week, getting his first opportunity to start. And he is a very, very athletic defensive end, moving down the line of scrimmage, very good at pressuring the quarterback. And I think the Bears have found a nice future there with Alex Brown at the defensive end position.
And holding Staley to 2.5 yards per carry. Eagles dominating the ball control here in this 3rd quarter. 3rd down and 4. McNabb looking to run, and McNabb close to it and short of it. McNabb was stopped. Mike Caldwell, his former teammate in this game, will have a 1st down on the, and that's in the half that we showed you, a 1st down on the Bears 18. And here is the fake end around, and the pass to Cecil Martin, and the Eagle fullback with his first touch of the game, getting 4.
But as well as they have played, taking advantage of that field position in this half, they have kicked 2 field goals. They have got to start scoring touchdowns to get some separation from this Bears team. The longer you let a team that's struggling stay in the football game, the worse it's going to be for you when you get into the 4th quarter.
No question about it. In fact, here's an instance that if the Eagles have to settle for a field goal, that could give momentum back to Chicago. 2nd down and 6 from the 14. And the end around to Thrash. Here's James Thrash, and Jerry Azuma gets to him first, and then following suit, Alex Brown.
Of course. And
they shouldn't abandon the running game because they're only down by 3 points with a lot of time to go. As you see the total yardage down to -3. And here is Miller, and Miller Dumps it off to Anthony Thomas. Thomas slips and is stopped at the 35-yard line. He'll be short of the first down by about 3.5 as we send it down to Ron Pitts.
Well, guys, one thing that won't help the Bears running game, the loss of a fullback, Damon Shelton, their starter. He injured his ankle earlier in the first half, tried to go on it. He is out with a sprained ankle. Stanley Pritchett, number 36, he will be in as the starter. Let's see how that affects Anthony Thomas as he runs in front of him to block.
All right, Ron, thanks very much. Of course, Stanley Pritchett has already contributed in this game, has played well as a receiver as well as a blocker.
Yeah, I think that he is considered a receiving fullback, but we saw Stanley Pritchett with a nice lead block on Anthony Thomas's first touchdown. He's a very effective blocker also.
I guarantee Cincinnati will beat Houston. Anyway, 3rd down and 3, and Jim Miller gets buried back at the 30 by Hugh Douglas. And so
Cowboy fans, myself personally, but yeah, Walter Payton was a very special guy, but we've got another special guy who's the new rushing champion.
From the 49-yard line, here's Donovan McNabb throwing, and the pass is caught by Lewis out of bounds. And I want to congratulate you, not only for the great job you did in paving the way for Emmitt Smith becoming the all-time leading rusher with your play in a career, but the way you handled it last week, being on the sideline, it was certainly an emotional and heartfelt moment, sincere on both parts, and I wish I kind of been there with you just watching you two guys.
It was amazing. It was a lot more emotional than I ever could have thought it would have been, and it was probably going to end up being one of the fondest memories I'll ever have as a player in the NFL.
2nd down, Deuce Staley, and he has the first down inside the 40-yard line. Alfonso Boone making the stop.
Yeah, the officials are going to call that one.
There the penalties, 17 in all, 11 against the Bears, as Deuce Staley on first down is knocked back by Brian Urlacher in a loss of 3 yards. I started to talk about Donovan McNabb, and you talk about a guy who's just 25 years old who was elected as a member of his alma mater's Board of Trustees. Syracuse University Board of Trustees held a meeting, and Donovan McNabb, the youngest for sure member of the trustees, and as alums of that school, we're very proud of Donovan.
Well, I think it's great to have a person of Donovan's station in life, his perspective on what he would like the university to become, and all the students that will be going there for the future.
2nd down and 13, and the pass thrown underneath, complete to Chad Lewis. I'd like to see the football team have some more victories. And right now, for a game break, let's check in with James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Dick and Darrell, and Ron, we may be seeing a lot more of this guy right here, Troy Hamburg, up the gut 3 yards, capping a 12-play, 80-yard drive, his first touchdown of the season, and Dallas on top by 1 in what is an ugly game. Dick, Darrell, and Ron.
Low scoring, but you get the win, and it's going to be huge for whomever gets it in Detroit. And the pass on 3rd down, close to the sticks to Thrash. He caught it, stayed in bounds, but he does not get the first. He's about a yard. Will go for it on the 24 of the Bears. So this becomes a huge play, and the pitch to Deuce Staley. And Staley is hit, and I don't think he has it. Great pursuit by the Bears, and it is led by Philip Daniels and Bobby Howard. And the Bears have held on 4th down and take over on downs.
Well, they talked about running between the tackles to negate the speed of Brian Urlacher, and look at the guy who's at the bottom of that pile doing everything he can. Number 54 coming from the inside out. Here he comes. I tell you, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, and on 4th and 1, you better have a lot of confidence in your run game to run a toss, crack, sweep with a guy like 54 in the middle.
So a great defensive stop by the Bears, and now the question before the house is, what will the offense do? They have been invisible here in this entire second half. 3-point lead for the Eagles, 8:08 to go in regulation. Miller with the pitch to Anthony Thomas, and once again the Eagles are there, and a terrific play by Levon Kirkland, and dropping Thomas for a loss of 3.
And the reason that the Bears wanted to run on the perimeter was because they felt they could get to the outside and take advantage of number 93's size. But that is the 2nd or 3rd time this afternoon that Levon Kirkland has run down Anthony Thomas from the inside out.
The Eagles took over momentum early in the 3rd quarter. 3 field goals has given them the lead, and now their defense trying to take it over now to wrap it up. 2nd and 13. Very tough team to score against. And the fake handoff, Miller finds an open Thomas out of the backfield, and a good cut upfield by Anthony Thomas, and he's close to the first down and may have it. The miss was Sean Barber, the linebacker. Eagles, well, on the 31-yard line, first down, 6:22 to go, and here is a fade to Thrash, and the pass, they're going to throw the flag there. R.W. McQuarters, well, he has borne the brunt of many of the defensive penalties by the officials on many of them. First down for the Eagles on their 47-yard line. Here is McNabb going deep to the other side, and it's caught by Bigston in stride and out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. A 39-yard strike, and another flag is down.
Be a huge show by this defense that has been asked to do this all afternoon.
James Thrash lining up in the backfield, going in motion, an empty backfield now, and the pass thrown underneath and caught by Thrash. He gets now down to the 7-yard line. Pickup of 6. Reggie Austin making the tackle for the Bears as the clock runs under 5 minutes remaining in the fourth. Eagles looking to open up a 10-point lead. They have dominated in this second half, sparked by their impenetrable defense. 3rd and 3. And here's McNabb. Pass is caught, and slipping is Mitchell. Freddie Mitchell with his first catch of the game, close to the first down yard line, trying to solve the Eagle defense. Play action, and Miller rolling out and hitting John Davis, the tight end. Davis getting by one defender and picking up nearly 8 yards on first down. Troy Vincent coming up to make the play. Bears have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Jim Miller, who has missed the last 2 weeks because of injury, coming back today. Bears offense did show some life in the first half, actually scoring a touchdown against this Eagle defense is pretty good accomplishment in its own right. 2nd down and 2. And here is Thomas, first down, Moore to the 39-yard line, a gain of 6.
Well, you can't have asked your defense to do any better this afternoon than Chicago has done, especially here in the second half under adverse conditions, backed up, short fields by their offense and by field position. Now it's time for the offense to put together this drive at this critical point of the game and try and steal this victory that would really be dependent on what their defense has done this afternoon, not their offense.
First down and 10. Thomas with 86 total yards, including the only touchdown for the Bears. Here is Miller, and he's got out of the backfield Stanley Pritchett, and Pritchett driving 2 Eagles into Philadelphia territory, 14 yards and a first down. And in Andy Reid's view, the same coach he was last year when they were 13 and 3. 1st and 10 in Eagle territory. The screen pass to Anthony Thomas, and Thomas carries inside the 35 for another first down. Brandon Whiting downfield, a big gain of 13.
It has been an absolute exercise in futility this entire second half by this Bears offense, and with the game on the line, they are having their best drive of the afternoon.
40-yard drive thus far after the first 5 drives of the second half netted only 9. Remember, the Bears need the touchdown. Field goal won't help them. Under a half a minute to go, but all 3 timeouts remaining. They're on the 35, and here's Miller with a screen to Booker, and Marty Booker to the 29-yard line will be shy by 4 yards. Brian Dawkins making the play, and the Bears will call their first time. Jim Miller perfect on the drive. 2nd and 4 on the Eagle 30-yard line, and there's the pass underneath to Des White, diving but still short of the first down marker. Brian Dawkins putting the clamp on, and now the Bears will call another. And it's not so much the first downs, but being able to get close to the goal line. Leon Johnson in the lineup for the Bears. And here is Miller, and Miller's pass incomplete, intended for Marty Booker. So now it is 4th down and 1, and the Bears, of course, will go for it.
The one thing that Jim Miller could not do in that situation was take the sacks. He does not have anybody that is wide open, but he has to get rid of that ball. He can't hold on to that football and force an issue where they could be in a 4th and long situation.
4th down and 1. Well, they in effect took a shot when you consider where they are now. This is the game for the Bears as far as surviving another set of downs. 4th down and 1, and they hand off, and 1st down for Leon Johnson. He got hit at the line, and then the second effort gives him enough. But the clock is running, under a minute to go. Bears have only 1 timeout remaining. Dick Geron, knowing the game is on the line. Yes, it's okay. On the 24, 1st down, play action. Here is Miller, and Miller's going into the end zone, and it's over the head of Des White, who is well covered down there by Al Harris and Blaine Bishop.
It looked as though Des White was open for a second on a corner route. Jim Miller just a little bit long on that throw. I like the decision to save that last timeout. That allows the Chicago Bears the opportunity to take a shot into the middle of the field as they move the ball down towards the goal line to try and get this go-ahead touchdown and be able to stop the clock.
2nd down and 10. Miller up the middle, and it's nearly picked off. Nearly intercepted by Ike Reese. It was intended for John Davis. So the vice narrows now for the Bears. They face 3rd down and 10. There's Andy Reid urging on the defensive unit. 3rd down and 10 on the 24-yard line. Clock is down to 25 seconds and still 1 timeout left. Brian Urlacher's probably said, send me in. I've scored before.
There's not much more that that guy could do this afternoon to have a position, to be in position to win this football game right now.
Bears 1 for 10 on 3rd down conversions. And here comes the blitz, and Miller is down back at the 35-yard line. Hugh Douglas came in virtually untouched, and the big sack will send the Bears into 4th down as they use their 3rd and final
pressure. Questions in the secondary, but nobody seems to be able to beat him.
4th down and 19. And here is Jim Miller stepping up, and he's going for Demarcus Robinson. Incomplete, thrown out of the end zone, and the Eagles will take over on downs and will win the game.